Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this lesson, I want to introduce you to two basic rules which you need to learn and make sure you don't forget, because if you do, it'll cause you a number of problems as we go along and as we advance. The first of these rules, let's get the right color out. First rule number one, is that all relationships connect back to the deceased. And this is a simple rule. Essentially, whenever we're talking about a father, a brother, a mother, sister, whoever it may be, we're always linking back to the deceased. And you'll hear me as we go along say things such as the wife's share is an eighth of the children and a quarter of the no children. And if we just draw that out, so we have X and he's got a wife, and that statement I just said is that the wife's share is an eighth if there are children, means X has children. It doesn't necessarily mean that the wife has any children or the wife's children. It just means X has children, may have been from a previous marriage, or that essentially it's his children. It doesn't necessarily need to be his wife's children as well. And similarly, if we have X, he has a father, the father gets you'll come across statements such as the father gets a sixth when there's a son, and again it's X's son, not father's son, so it's always going back to X. So that's rule number one. All relationships cannot connect back to the deceased, and you just got to make sure you remember that as we go along, otherwise it can get a bit confusing. The second rule is rule number two, is we take a look at the relationship when we're working out Meerath. We take a look at the relationships at the date of death. So relations are considered at the date of death. And it's only those who are surviving at this date who obtain a share. So if we consider that, again we have X, who's going to be our guinea pig, and he has two sons, son 1 and son 2. Now, assuming that these are the only relatives he has when he passes away, then they will each get 50% of his estate. But let's say for a moment that X passed away on date of death was the 1st of January 2012, but the day before son 1 passed away. So he passed away on the 31st of December 2011, and son 2 was still alive at that was still alive when his father X passed away. What we do in this situation is we exclude son 1, so he does not take any, he's not considered at all, and the whole estate passes to son 2. 100% will pass to son 2, and that will be the case even if he passed away the next day. So if son 2 passed away on the 2nd of January 2012, in fact any time after X, so he could have died 10 minutes later, provided it's known that he passed away after X, his father, who's the deceased, then he is the one who's taken into account, whereas son 1 who passed away before, even if it was a minute before, provided it's known that he passed away before, then he's excluded. Um, and in son two's case, if he were to pass away just a few days later, he never received any benefit, but essentially his estate would receive um, X's estate. So X's estate would pass to son 2, and son two's inheritance would be divided according to the Sharia distribution. And then we would have to obviously reconsider what that would be in son two's case. So these are the two rules. You need to really grasp this, because this is crucial as we go along. Rule number 1, if I go back up, rule number 1, all relationships connect back to the deceased, meaning that it's the deceased who we consider when we talk about relationships. And rule number 2 is relationships are considered at the date of death. And these two rules are crucial to understand.